My name is Sarah, I'm 21, and I live in a small village in Tamil Nadu, India. This is my story. I live with my mom and my elder brother, who is 24. We recently moved from the city to the village in order to be closer to our relatives. My brother and I were very excited about the move because we both love the village. One day, the three of us decided to visit my uncle and his family. His home is located in the middle of the forest area, 20 kilometers from our home. When we arrived, I was so happy to see them all, my uncle, my aunt, and my 10-year-old cousin. We had a wonderful dinner and then relaxed together by watching TV. After a while, I started getting sleepy. Just as I was thinking about whether or not I would head to bed, I got a call on my cell phone. The TV and my family were kind of loud, so I decided to go up to the second floor of the house and answer the phone where it was much quieter. I walked into one of the guest bedrooms as I answered the phone. As I greeted my friend who was calling me, I stepped over to the window and looked out at the view of the forest. That's when I saw an unbelievable scene. I let out an audible gasp as I saw 4 men digging a big hole shaped like a grave. I quickly hid behind the window curtain, phone still to my ear. I told the person on the phone to hold on a moment as I poked my head slowly out from behind the curtain and peered out at the men. They were about 50 meters away from my uncle's house. Next to the grave, I saw a man who was lying on the ground. He was tied up with ropes on his arms and legs, and his mouth was covered with duct tape. He was alive from what I could tell. The window was open, so I could barely hear his muffled screams in the distance. I hung up the call and crouched down so I could get a better view from the bottom of the window. There wasn't just one victim, but 2. There was a woman lying on the ground as well. Just like the man, she was tied up with ropes and duct tape on her mouth. They looked like a couple. Then another man showed up. He was on the bigger side, was probably 5'5" tall, and had shiny black curly hair. He was wearing so much jewelry, bracelets, and chains that there was no doubt in my mind that he was their leader. He came and said something to those men, and they carried both of the people who were tied up and put them in the grave. Then they started filling the hole with dirt. I couldn't take it anymore. My eyes filled with tears, and I immediately ran downstairs to tell my mom what was happening. She called the cops. The cops arrived in time to catch these guys in the act and stopped the couple from being completely buried. Luckily, both of them survived, and all 5 men ended up serving time in prison. I found out later what was happening that day. The girl, that was the daughter of the leader. Apparently, she had fallen in love with someone who was considered lesser than her own family, someone she would never have been allowed to marry because it would have lowered her family's status. The bone-chilling thing that I witnessed was a father attempting to kill his own daughter, a terrifying thing called an honor killing.
Here is some background information. I was in Mississippi visiting my grandma for spring break, just relaxing and having a good time with family. One day, my dad and grandma heard about a restaurant named Clawdaddy's that served crawfish and shrimp. After we got the seafood, we went to a small convenience store. I went inside with my dad while my grandma stayed in the car. When my dad and I walked out, there were police cars and fire trucks everywhere. Me and my dad were confused because we didn't see them when we walked in the store. We got into the car, and my grandma said she saw a woman in a nearby vehicle lying her head on her arms. My grandma thought she had a heart attack. Just before we were about to pull out, a man in his 50s shouted something to my dad, but my dad ignored it. The man came to our window, and what he said still haunts me. He said, "Lock your doors. A woman's boyfriend stabbed her, and she drove all the way here to the convenience store just to get help." Me and my family were shocked. It turns out that woman didn't have a heart attack. Her boyfriend tried to stab her to death. When we were driving back to my grandma's house, a police car rushed behind us. That meant the boyfriend lives in my grandma's neighborhood. My dad and grandma dropped me off and went back out to get food for my dogs while I stayed home alone. Me, just being terrified about the stabbing, I got my grandpa's golf club for security. While having the golf club in my hand, I called my friends to tell them what happened, and all of a sudden, my dog started barking at something outside. I ran to the door and shouted, "I have a golf club, and I'm not afraid to use it!" But there was no one. When my whole family came home, I felt relieved. We played Phase 10, and I had to stay around them to feel safe. I barely got any sleep that night because I didn't know if the police had caught the boyfriend yet. All I know is I saw police cars and an ambulance heading somewhere. I think the cops killed him, or he is still on the run.